Over the last few years, plein air painting has completely captured my heart and given me the gift of participating in the great outdoors in a beautiful and uniquely creative way. As artists, we get to contemplate the light, shadow, edges, and the shapes of things in an effort to capture a brief moment, an essence, a feeling. By the way, welcome everyone. My name is Emily, and here on my channel we do art tutorials, product reviews, and we discuss all things watercolor, so if that sounds good to you, hit that subscribe button right now. Now, for most of us, including even the most experienced artists, painting outdoors can be challenging and maybe even a little bit daunting. That's why it's so essential to practice often and to study the work of master artists who have learned how to problem solve and to create beautiful compositions. In the month of May, I was able to attend my very first plein air convention and expo. This event has been created and hosted by Eric Rhodes for 10 years. He's an artist who's passionate about bringing people together from around the world to celebrate the joys of painting from life. Since it was the convention's 10-year birthday bash, it was a big deal, and it took place at the Westin Hotel in Westminster, Colorado. I had the honor of being asked to join the faculty as a field painter. This just meant that I would set up an easel and paint during the daily paintouts and offer assistance to any attendees who might have questions or need help with their paintings. It really was the best job ever. Day one of Pace was the opening celebration, and the energy in the room was palpable. We were offered an overview of the week ahead and told to pace yourselves at Pace. Faculty were introduced and awards were given to the top artists from the plein air salon competition. This year's special guest was Jane Seymour. That's right, the famous actress. I remember watching Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman every Saturday night with my family when I was a kid. Now in her 70s and still absolutely gorgeous, Jane Seymour is a dedicated artist. She posed in her Dr. Quinn hat and jacket on the main stage while Michelle Dunaway, a soulful and skilled portrait artist, painted her and talked about the importance of painting from life in order to really capture the essence of a person. It was also fun to watch Miss Seymour painting koi fish and sunsets with watercolors in the expo hall. Each day started out with demos all morning and into the early afternoon. I made it a goal to attend as many demos as I could while I was here, especially in the water media room. They had different rooms for different media, so if you're interested in oils or pastel or acrylics, there's something for everybody. Having just attended the Portrait Society of America conference earlier in the month, I felt compelled to sketch every demo artist I watched. I loved the demos by Dan Monlock, Vlad Yelisiev, Alvaro Castanet, Shang Li, Jane Hunt, Daniel Sprick, and Dan Marshall. I also loved perusing the expo hall where art vendors set up their booths and sell art supplies. There are also artists who do demos in the expo hall. This is Joanne Manji painting a cute little dog from life. There are two things about the plein air convention that make it awesome, in my opinion: meeting and talking with all of the other artists, and the paintouts. Our first paint out was in downtown Golden. Unfortunately, the air was actually really thick with haze from Canadian wildfires, so our normally crystal clear skies and mountains were very foggy with smoke pollution. In spite of the abnormal weather, everyone was eager to get outside and apply everything they'd been learning. My painting did not go very well. It was just one of those days, so I abandoned it and instead enjoyed walking around and talking to other artists. I had a chance to assist a few beginning plein air artists and just chat with a bunch of people. It was awesome. Pretty cool setup you've got here.
Thank you.
And what drew you to this composition?
Just the simplicity and just the challenge of trying to paint the sky and the mountain colors and try to get a sense of aerial perspective.
Yeah. The value shifts here are really subtle, but also so interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, hi Maria. So this is your first convention?
First convention.
You having a good time?
I'm having a great time.
So we're here in Golden, Colorado. As you can see, it's a super smoky, hazy day. But Maria's doing a great job capturing the haze here. We've got the pink in her painting. Can you tell us a little about why you chose this spot?
I just loved the flow of those mountains, and yes, it is a smoky sky, but it's not a gray smoke. It's a creamy, pinky smoke, and I just really like the flow. That's all.
Here's Mr. Eric Rhodes.
Hello, 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 hello.
This is such a wonderful event. Thank you so much for hosting us all here.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Oh.
Wait.
Oh, wait.
Wait.
I have personally never seen so many artists in one place. It was really fun seeing the locals' reactions, like, what is going on here? This is what 800 people all painting together looks like. In some sense, it felt like a religious experience, a congregation of artists celebrating God's creation. I'm always fascinated when I watch other artists. They're as varied in their style, medium, choice of subject, cropping, and composition as they are people. I think it's an important reminder that there's no need to ever compare ourselves to one another or to feel competitive as artists. We are each on our own journey, and our artwork will always be a representation of our own personal story. By the way, friends, if you're just getting started in your watercolor journey and you're still struggling a little bit to master those basic techniques, I do offer a free ebook called the Watercolor Jumpstart Guide. It's packed with amazing tips for getting started and some really fun projects just for beginners. I'll leave a link in the description so you can check that out. Day 3 was in El Dorado Canyon State Park. I hiked up a little ways from the bridge to get a great view of the river cascading down through the canyon.
I'm here in El Dorado Canyon State Park painting with Pace, and I'm actually kind of on my own. I didn't intend to like wander off, but I'm over here by this gorgeous spot.
I really wanted this painting to turn out, so to increase my chances of success, I decided to practice what I preach and do a quick composition and a value sketch before diving in. It also helped that I was painting something I truly felt fired up about. It doesn't always happen that a composition screams out at you, but on this occasion, I just knew exactly what I wanted to paint. I settled on a square composition with a clear white shape, that being the curve of the river, and a strong mid-tone shape represented by the surrounding rocks. Dark shadows at the base of the rocks would point to a clear light source and create much needed contrast, and I tried to manipulate the design so that my shadows touched or connected, creating a clear visual path for the eye to follow. I removed the tree in front of that boulder because it broke up the harmony of the space I wanted to create. I used Denise Soden's Da Vinci Wildlife palette for this painting.
So I'm actually pretty happy with how this one turned out, and I am thrilled to be here. It's just so beautiful. I'm gonna go check out what all the other painters are doing and check back in.
My painting only took about 45 minutes, so I had plenty of time to hang out with the other artists and see them hard at work.
What are you painting right now?
Well, I'm painting that rocky side of that mountain right there.
That's
with
awesome.
Trees, a couple of pine trees in front.
And this is your first
And
time
this is my first time.
painting with watercolors outdoors?
Yes. Yes.
How do you like it so far?
Well, it's challenging.
No kidding. But it's a beautiful setting, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's gorgeous.
Hi, Barbara.
Hi there, Emily.
What a gorgeous painting.
Thank you very much.
Can you tell me a little bit about what drew you to this composition?
Actually, it was the lead-in of the pathway, and then I saw the layers, and I think the concentration and focus in a lot of the watercolor classes and demos that we've been seeing with Vlad and with Dan Marshall has been about our layers and distance.
Yes.
And so this has very good atmospheric perspective.
Oh gosh, it sure does. Look at all those layers.
And then it's very interesting because I've actually been painting a lot in Carmel about rocks, and so this gave me an opportunity to sort of experiment with rocks and the blues and the colours that come into the rocks, and then calligraphy.
I love
So,
it. You
I
did
know.
so well with that.
Well, I get to put the dark trees in eventually. It will hold the whole thing together and then push everything back again further.
So
and
true.
then watching Dan Marshall, he talked about putting pink into the sky. And I thought, it may not be there, but I'm going to put a bit of an influence of Dan Marshall.
And I'm so glad you did. It really, really works so well. It's absolutely
Thank you.
beautiful.
Thank you.
Well, I can't wait to see what it looks like with the finished trees in the foreground.
Thank you.
I'll
Me
let you keep
either.
painting.
All right.
Thanks, Barbara.
Okay.
Hey, Lori.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good. Are you having fun?
I'm having a great time.
Oh my gosh, your painting is amazing.
Thanks. Thanks so much. I loved all the colors, and the rocks and stuff.
Yeah.
It just was so neat.
So, was this like the first thing you saw when you stepped out and you just set up right away?
Really, it was. I mean, and I had to sort of cheat a little bit right there, but I didn't want that part of the
Yeah.
scene. So I just pretended I was in a little bit different spot, and that I was much further back. But,
That's okay.
But it's the character picture of the place, right?
It really is. You captured it. And those little dots of lavender are so good.
Thanks.
So juicy.
Thanks.
Wow, great job.
Thank you.
On day 4 of PACE, I had the opportunity to watch my friend Raj do an oil painting demo. He's a phenomenal artist. Be sure to give him a follow on Instagram. Now at these conferences, there's always an expo center just full of art supplies that you can buy. And I always spend way too much money. I just have to show you some of the goodies I picked up, okay? Core, I've got a granulating mini set of 6. I've got watercolor ground. I have some sample colors. Vladislav Yelisiev, he is an amazing watercolor artist. He does a lot of city scenes, and he has his own brush set from Rosemary & Company. You can see I already busted one out and used it. A Raymar ACM panel. These are such high quality panels. This one is Fabriano Artistico 140 pound hot press paper, and you can see it's this lovely hard metal ACM panel. In the My Mary Blue booth, this is their best seller. This is called Dragon's Blood. I have got to try this color. This is the Gorilla Sketch Buddy. I am so excited to take this out plein air painting with me. I cannot wait to see how well it works. Oh, and the Jane Hunt limited edition water mixable oil set. Winsor & Newton, you guys, is a huge company. As you all know, they've been making paints for years. Jane Hunt actually grew up super close to the Winsor & Newton factory in England, and she's one of my favorite painters and a fellow Colorado artist. She is the first artist to have her own limited edition set of paints by Winsor & Newton, so it's a big deal. She even signed the front for me. Please comment below if any of these products look really interesting to you. Do you want to see a video about them? Just let me know. The paint out for day 4 was actually at Garden of the Gods in Colorado Springs. And since I didn't purchase a bus ticket and it was rather rainy and stormy out and I really didn't want to be stuck in traffic on I-25, my friends Raj, Tanner, and I stayed back at the event hotel and asked the great paint maker himself, Michael Harding, to pose for us. Michael has a magnificent costume which he graciously donned for us, minus the sword, since he's not allowed on an airplane with it. He posed for about an hour, entertaining us with delightful stories in his lovely English accent. I learned that if he hadn't chosen his path as a creator of fine artist materials, in another life he would have been an actor. It was an incredible honor to paint Michael Harding with my brand new Michael Harding watercolor paints. Kind of a meta moment. I felt so grateful and I loved every minute of it. There's nothing quite like whipping out a portrait, knowing you only have a limited amount of time, but you're desperate to capture the likeness or the essence, the moment. It's such a rush. Thanks again, Michael. On our very last day, we experienced the creme de la creme of plein air painting in Colorado, Rocky Mountain National Park. My friend Raj and I drove up to Bear Lake, one of the most popular spots in the park. We wanted to try to do at least 2 paintings. You can see the lake still had a lot of snow and ice on it, which made for some beautiful shapes. I chose to focus my composition on Hallett Peak, trying to create interesting connections and rhythmic flows in the trees and whites. Once again, I used my Denise Soden palette, and this bamboo easel is actually made by Taylor Seamount on Etsy, a recommendation by Steve Mitchell, the Mind of Watercolor. Thanks, Steve. I love how lightweight this easel is, and it's so easy to set up. Our second painting was at Moraine Park, closer to the east entrance of the park. This area is known for its epic, sweeping views of the mountains, colorful, grassy, river-fed meadows, and it's really common to see herds of elk congregating here. We didn't see any elk today, but many of our fellow artists were all gathered here, and I love the feelings of excitement and creative energy that just seem to fill the air. For the 800 attendees of this plein air convention, we were all coming away from this changed for the better. Friends, remember that you do not need to have mountains in your backyard in order to make a beautiful and compelling plein air painting. You can paint the world around you. It's all about looking for interesting shapes and pleasing compositions, simplifying it down to 3 or 4 light and dark values, and just allowing yourself the freedom to create a painting that fully expresses your intention without feeling like you have to copy exactly what you're seeing. Check out Eric Rhodes' channel. He does weekly live streams with phenomenal professional artists and instructors who all offer great advice for just making better paintings. And most importantly, I hope after watching this, you'll feel inspired to paint something from life. You guys rock. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.